Hi boys and girls, it's Rosemary again, and today we're going to be painting this ceramic bear. Now we're going to do the one with the heart box. That's the one that you picked up at the library, and this is the kit. I don't know if I've ever shown any of you when doing all these videos, the little kits that I put together. I give them brushes, directions, the piece, and whatever paints they're going to need to finish the piece. Okay, so this is what they pick up at the library, and they actually come in a set of 3, but we chose the heart box because of the candy, and for Valentine's Day I figured that was the most appropriate for the occasion. But I wanted to show you these two so you can get an idea of them done in different colors, so you don't have to stick to whatever I do. Okay, but the first thing you're going to do, and this is something that I like to do with a lot of pieces because it makes it so much easier to do your colors if you do them all on top of a base coat. So we're going to base coat this whole piece in this brown that's in the kit. Okay, so put the brown on the whole piece, smooth it out, don't leave puddles. I mean, I had a lot in my brush, so I'm really pulling it out until it covers all the white spots. You don't want any white spots. And I know when I'm teaching a class at the library, the children always ask me, over the face, over the eyes, and I say yes, over everything. So everything is going to be covered in the brown. And when you put the colors that we're using on top of the brown recedes to the crevices, and it makes it look like it's an antiquing. You could see it in between the flowers on here, you could see it in here. Okay, so that's the reasoning for doing a base coat. Most of my base coats, I mean, base coat could be any color that you want to do, but neutrally, I kind of do, if there is such a word, I try to do them in brown or gray. Yeah, brown or gray. I think those are my go-to colors that I do base coats. So get the brown on there. If you don't want to watch me, I always say you can pause the video and come back and pick it up again. That's the advantage of doing this at home. So nice and smooth, and I'll go back and I'll check all my little spots and see all my little white spots that I've missed. Try to get like most of the white spots covered. And the way to do that too is when you finish, turn it upside down and look at it from a different direction, because you always miss the undersides of things. Okay, and I'm going to do the head last so I can hold on to him, her, whoever. Okay, and kind of wiggle the brush in the crevices. Now I have a little bigger brush than you have there, and you can get more brushes in Michael's or on Amazon. I just give you a couple of simple brushes in the kit, but it's always good to invest and have a few more brushes available to you if you want to keep painting ceramics. So like I said, you can go on Amazon, you can go into Michael's, look for sales. I believe Hobby Lobby may have them also. I am not positive about that. But look around, and they shouldn't be watercolor brushes. They should be nylon acrylic brushes for painting, acrylics. The watercolor brushes are very, very soft, and they're very hard to work with when you want to, scrub color in like I'm doing right now. I'm working with a nylon right now. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it upside down and see all the spots that I missed before I go and do the head. And always do the bottom. I didn't do it, but you should always do the bottoms of everything. A piece is not completely painted until the bottom is done. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can hold him from the bottom. I'm not painting the bottom right now because I want to put my hand inside of it. So you could do the bottom last. You could do it at the end later on with whatever extra paint you have. And I'm looking underneath at all the spots that I've missed, so I touch them up as I go along. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Little spot here that I missed. So you eyeball it as you go along and just check all those spots and make sure you get good coverage. So you really should do this ahead of time and let it dry, because we're going to be putting colors over these colors, over this brown, and if it's very wet, that's going to be a little bit hard to do. I mean, I have no choice because I'm in the middle of the video, and I will hope that it dries very fast for me so that I can show you how to do everything else, okay? So just go back and like I said, turn it upside down, see if there's any white spots missing that you missed. Okay, and that's his base coat. Now, while you have the brown in the brush and he's dry, you could put a dot, a real dot of white in your brush and get like a tan color. and highlight the edges. You could see what I did there? I highlight all the edges and a little extra on the tips of the ears, and on this one, a little extra around his snout area. And that's not with straight white, that's with white and brown in the brush together. So I'll show you what I mean. And that's where you need the paper towel, because what you do is you pick up just a drop of white in the brown brush. I mean, very, very little. Blend it together until you get a tan color. You see how I got a tan color there? Take almost all of it out of the brush, back and forth, back and forth. Don't bang the brush up and down. Go side to side and blend the color evenly into all the hairs of the brush. I'll start on the back, because I think that's the driest. Not on his clothes now. We're just going to be doing it on his body. So let me do his arms for you. Very, very, very lightly with a very light hand. Very light hand. Go against the grain. Well, this grain is going in all different directions, but you're just going to try to hit the high spot. So when there's nothing in the brush, you're able to do that. See that little bit that's on there? And if it's not light enough, you put a drop more white in your brush. I'm doing his arms. I did the other arm. Okay. And finish that arm. Do this arm. And then I'm going to do his whole head. I'm going to do his whole head first. I see spots that I missed with the brown. So now I have not dipped for more paint. You are not painting this on, you're highlighting the raised areas of the bear. And you could see that by looking at all of this, okay? So again, I'm going to pick up a little drop of white, blend it into the brush, and now I'm going to pick up a little bit of brown, blend it together, and very lightly accent. And it's a very, very light hand. You hold your brush very lightly so that you can move it in your hand. You don't squeeze the brush tight. If you do, you'll be putting too much paint on. And if a little gets on the clothes, it really doesn't matter, because we're going to do the same thing with the clothes, but not with the brown. Okay, I just want to show you, once we get the color on the arms and the head and everything the way we like it, I'm not going to do any more than that, okay? Now I'm going to put just white in the brush, a little bit more white. Don't wash your brush, no water in the brush. And make it a lot lighter. See over here how much lighter it is? And do the snout area right here. See? In that area. I'm going to make that area lighter. And I'm going against the grain so that I try only to hit the raised spots. The side of the brush. Okay, see that? I made it much lighter. Now you can also tip the ears. Just these little character spots, I call them. So now you can see that the ears have a little bit more white on them. And sometimes I'll do the bottom of the arms a little bit lighter. Like I said, these are just called character spots. I like to accent certain areas. And I did a little extra on the tip of the arms, on both arms, okay? All right, so you don't do a lot on the body as it stands here, but then you put more white in the brush to do the snout area. And if you make a mistake and you get too much white on it, just let it dry, go back and paint the brown over it, and then you start again. There's no mistakes, no problem, okay? All right, so now let's do his clothes. And I gave you, you have pink, you have blue, you have white. What other color? I gave you purple. So you could choose to do whatever colors that you would like. I'm going to start with the, and see how little brown I used? So you have plenty. I didn't even go down half a well on there. I'm going to do the pink on the heart. I also gave you red, I believe, too, right? Where's the kit? Did I give you red? I did. I gave you red too. So you could choose to do the heart in pink or in red. I'm going to be doing it in the pink. Okay. Now I'm still taking a lot of my color out of the brush. I'm doing it like a dry brush effect. So I'm going to do the box. And I'm going to go over the bow too, because I'm going to go back and do the bow in red. So it doesn't have to be 100% coverage on this, because you have the brown in the background. Now I'm not getting very good coverage on this because I'm using the brush that had the brown and the beige in it. So I'm going to have to do it a couple of times. So you see it there? So I'll do it again. Maybe I'll just put a drop. You can play with these colors. You just put a drop of red in the brush with the pink, and you get like another color in between there. So I'm going to put a little more pink in the brush, and then just a little dot of the red. Make a little deeper pink. See? Could you see that there? I added a little deeper pink on there. And even though I only want it on the box itself and not on the bow, I'm going right over the bow because it'll be easy enough to do the bow with a smaller brush, and it'll cover what I did with the pink. Yeah, I like this better. Okay, see that? All right. So now I'm going to do, oh, you know what? While we have the pink in the brush, you have the small nylon brush. I'm going to take just the pink and dab a little bit into his ears. Okay. And also his nose. I'm doing his nose in pink. I believe I gave you black, so you can do the black if you want to, but I'm doing this one in pink. So it's your piece, you're the artist. I made a very, very bright pink nose. And I did that by adding just a little bit of red to my brush with the pink. Okay, and I did that on the ears also, so they would stand out a little bit more on the brown. You needed something a little sharper on the brown. So I think the bow I'm going to do in purple. So I'm going to take the smaller brush, and if you notice, I don't even wash my brush in between colors. I just pick up the next color in the brush, because when you're dry brushing, you don't want a wet brush. Now with the small brush, I'm putting the purple on the bow. Okay, see that? It's almost like you're painting it, but you're not painting it solidly. You're leaving some of the brown showing. So you don't, and the advantage of not, of base coating it in the brown is you don't have to butt your colors right up against each other, so it doesn't have to be perfect, because the brown acts as a, like an antiquing. It stays in the crevices and it gives depth to the piece. Okay, there you go. Okay, just wanted to see what other colors I gave you there. All right, so now I did purple. Now, I did it once because I didn't put it on heavy. If you go back a second time, the color gets a little sharper. So you could do it as many times as you want. You just don't put your color on very heavy. So you want it to dry. And once it's dry, you could do 5 coats if you wanted to. All right, so we got that now. So now what we're going to do is his clothes. And what am I going to do his clothes? Do I want blue? Nah, I think maybe I will do purple clothes to match the purple bow. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my bigger brush. And I have not washed out any of these brushes. And I'm still taking a lot of the color out because I'm putting it on in a dry brush fashion, which means I'm still leaving the color showing in the crevices. And when I dry brush the light beige, I forgot to do the feet, so don't forget to do the feet too, with the, you know, the mixture of the brown and the white in the brush together. Now everyone has on the directions my email, so if you want to send me a picture when you're finished, I'd love to see it. And if you have any questions or you want a picture of the bear, just let me know. run that off to you. Okay, I'm dry brushing it on. I am not painting it solid. I put a little paint in the brush, I blend it into the hairs of the brush, and just very lightly put it on his clothes. I keep saying his, but it could be a her too. A little bit of paint, a little bit of padding. Now, there's nothing to say you can't paint it solidly. If you wanted to, you could paint this solid. I like to have the brown showing in the crevices. I don't know if you could see it, but there's still brown showing in the crevices. And I would do it at least 2 times because the color pops more the second time around if you're dry brushing it on. If you're painting it on, you might not need 2 coats. Okay, and now I did with the clothes on here, I don't know if you could see it, what I did is I put a little white in the brush with the purple or the blue, and it accents the raised areas, but that has to really be nothing in the brush. Turn my paper towel around. Now I'm going to pick up some white that I have here with the purple in the brush, blend it together, and have nothing, really this time it's nothing in the brush. And just very gently hit the raised areas just like we did on the bear, on his body with the beige. Okay, now can you see what I'm doing here? How it accents those little raised designs that are on the bear? And you only need one very light coat on that. It's a cute piece. And it's good for Valentine's Day, it's good for Mother's Day. It's good for anything, right? Okay, now we could also do a little bit of that on the bow. Okay. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of white again in the brush with a little dot of the pink. And accent the candy box. I know I did it in the red before, but it doesn't stand out enough. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white highlight on it. See, it makes it pop more. Okay. There we go. All right. Now, he's pretty much done. Now, the only thing that I did on this one and on this one is I put little dots to outline the shape of his clothes. So up at the top and then across the bottom. And you do that with the handle of your brush. You have 2 brushes, and one handle's a little thicker than the other. I use actually the bigger brush has the smaller handle, and I use the handle, the back end of the brush, to put dots. Okay, so I just do, and every dot that you do will get smaller and smaller unless you dip. Okay, you have to re-dip. Every 1 or 2 dots, you should re-dip. Okay, how cute, isn't that adorable? And we'll do that on the front. You just have to watch with the dots that you don't put your hand in them because they will smear very easily. So that should be the last thing that you do with the dots. We didn't do his eyes yet, and you do the eyes the same way with the back end of the brush. Okay, so the white really makes it pop. And then I would do that across the bottom here too, along the bottom of his pants or her pants. Just be careful not to put your hands in the dots. Fast, easy piece to do. When you base coat something, it goes so much faster. I was doing a couple of other things today, and if you don't base coat, it takes so much longer to butt your colors perfectly up against each other, and you go back and forth to get a better line. This is so much easier to do. And I usually, when I do kids' classes, I have them base coat everything. Okay, so there we go. All right, get him out of the way. He's part of this little trio here. Okay, little trio. Aren't they adorable? Now, I don't think that the ribbon pops enough, so I'm going to put some little dots on the ribbon on the box. And just stagger them, meaning like, do one up, one down, one in between. Leave some space, don't put them on top of each other. Okay, now doesn't that look better on the ribbon? It makes it pop. Okay, now as far as the eyes go, you can do the eyes in the blue. You have blue, or you could do them in the black that I gave you. You could do them in either one. I'll do them in the blue since the blue is right here and I don't have black out. I'm going to take them. Just watch those dots on those on there because they will smear easily. All right, and with the back end of the brush, I'm using the bigger brush handle. I did two little blue eyes. Okay. All right, so you could do them either in the black and the black nose. These I have in black. I think this one's adorable. Really cute piece. I enjoyed doing this with you today. After 45 years, I still enjoy painting ceramics. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you enjoyed the class. And thank you so much for doing this all the time with me. I appreciate it. And thank you for watching my videos. Bye-bye.